Following the First World War and the fall of the Austrian Empire, the country of Yugoslavia was formed in 1918 to unite the Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes. The country would end up lasting most of the 20th century, but instability and a series of political upheavals would result in the Yugoslav wars of the 1990s and the ultimate breakup of the country.
No significant physical barriers have been put in place from the conflict, only the lines that divided the former Yugoslavian states.
The conflict of the former Yugoslavian states is between the states of Bosnia and Herzegovina, Croatia, Slovenia, Serbia, Macedonia, Montenegro, and the newly independent Kosovo. There are also barriers that have been put in place since the breakup of Yugoslavia in the 90s and the independence of Kosovo in 2008. Their main goal during the Yugoslav wars was to seek independence from one another because of ethnic tensions.
The Balkans land is culturally important to all the former states because the southern Slavic ethnic groups that once made up Yugoslavia, like the Serbs and Croats, have lived in the area since the 6th century CE. Their homeland is the site of their earliest literary, oral, food, and architectural traditions. Strategically, controlling the coastlines of the nearby Adriatic Sea is important for trade purposes. The Yugoslavian land is historically important to these people because the southern Slavic ethnic groups like the Serbs have been there since the 6th century CE. Duchies were formed as early as the 7th century BCE, and their architectural traditions also stem from this period. In terms of natural resources, Serbia has copper, timber, and antimony. Croatia has oil, iron ore, asphalt, salt, hydropower, and some coal. Bosnia has iron ore, bauxite, coal, some zinc, mercury, and manganese. Slovenia has coal, lead, zinc, stone, timber, and hydropower. Macedonia has grapes, wine, tobacco, vegetables, iron ore, copper, lead, and timber. Montenegro has oil, natural gas, coal, hydropower, and timber. Kosovo has coal, zinc, and lead. These countries are notably deficient in energy resources. Places with an abundance of coal, oil, natural gas, and hydropower are very desirable from an economic standpoint.
Since the breakup of Yugoslavia, the conflict has led to many significant impacts, such as the change in culture. Religion among the countries has become divided. Most Croats are Catholics, most Serbs are Orthodox Christians, and most Bosnians are Muslims. Members of each ethnic group have fled to their respective countries. Example, the Serbs went to Serbia, the Croats went to Croatia, etc., etc. The traditional Serbo-Croatian language used in Yugoslavia has now been split into several varieties, like Serbian and Bosnian. Before the breakup of Yugoslavia, state-sponsored attempts to preserve traditional clothing encouraged ethnic groups to wear said traditional clothing. Up until the end of Josip Broz Tito's presidency, rural workers would often be seen in traditional folk clothing. After the breakup of Yugoslavia, traditional clothing is little more than a novelty, as the advent of globalization and industrialization has made it the norm to dress in modern Western styles, example, t-shirts and jeans. Architecture transitioned from brutalist architecture that made use of massive layouts and concrete to contemporary architecture combining traditional architecture with postmodern Western influences. The boundaries of all the new states, like Bosnia, Croatia, and etc., have been formed. In terms of government, all of the former states have transitioned from socialism to democracy. The Yugoslav wars destroyed the economies of all the states. It took over a decade for them to rebuild their economies and restore their former GDPs. Population since the wars has been mostly net out. Many of the countries now have a negative or close to zero population growth rate due to all the immigration. Close to 120,000 refugees from former Yugoslavia were registered in the United States from 1991 to 2002. 67,000 refugees from former Yugoslavia were registered in Canada between 1991 and 2000. Bosnian Muslims have been affected the most by the conflict, and in a negative way. Close to 8,000 died in the Bosnian genocide and ethnic cleansing campaign of 1995. 30,000 more citizens were forced out of Bosnia, and the immigration from all former Yugoslavian countries hasn't had a positive impact on any of them. This animation shows the breakup of Yugoslavia from 1989 to the independence of Kosovo in 2008. The following clip showcases the former president of Yugoslavia, Josip Broz Tito, in an interview from the 1950s.
The Marshal, through an interpreter on the right, answers questions put to him by Helen Fisher of United Press.
Do you believe there is a possibility of solid agreement between the Russian bloc and the Western countries to remove the present international tension before a war breaks out?
Ja ne znam da li postoje sa obe strane čvrsta volja da se sva međunarodna sporna pitanja reše.
I still believe that eventually a settlement will have to be made, things that are still hanging in the air. Perhaps this settlement will be made in such a way that neither side will be completely satisfied with the results, but this will in any case be better than war.
Marshal Tito also spoke in English, which he'd studiously learnt for the occasion. He looks to America, of course, for equipment in view of the mounting Comintern threat.
Marshal Tito, would you like to take this opportunity when you are appearing before the people of America to give them any special message?
Yes, I will take this opportunity to send my greetings to America's people and plenty best wishes also on all these Americas who have sympathy for free and independent Yugoslavia. To all them in America who understand our difficulties, our aspirations to create a happy, new, strong Yugoslavia. To all them who have sympathy for such Yugoslavia as she is.